This is the lecture for file management and getting data for Introduction to GIS. So we're just going to cover a couple of things in this lecture. The first is the idea of making sure that your file maintenance is very consistent and very clear. The program of GIS, ArcGIS, creates a lot of files when you are making a project, some of which you know about, some of which you don't. So it's very important that we have a file management system such that the computer knows where to put everything so that your entire project stays together. It becomes very difficult if you have some of your files on your desktop and some of them on a jump drive and you're trying to move the projects around, because if you are missing even a single file, the project won't work or won't work correctly. So I'm going to go through and suggest a file maintenance program that I strongly encourage that you follow, especially if you are new to GIS. So what we need to do is get into a Windows Explorer or a My Computer. You can do that through the Start button at the computer link here. There's also a shortcut for it down on the bottom with the manila file folders. So once you get to an area where you can begin to manipulate files, you want to determine what is going to be what I call your safe spot. This is a place where you will save everything, where there is no worry about you losing it or somebody else getting into it, where you're going to save everything for this course. So I'm just going to put it on my desktop for ease right now. The first thing we're going to do is make a new folder. It's a very simple process. You just click the New Folder button. We're going to give it a fairly simple name, Intro GIS, so that we know what it is. Now I'm going to double click on our new folder, and then I'm going to make some new folders inside there. You can go ahead and do all of these at the beginning of the semester, or you can do them as an exercise comes up. But for every exercise that you do during the semester, the first thing I want you to do is come to this folder that you've just created called Intro GIS and make a new folder inside of it that references whatever exercise you are working on at that point. So by the end of the semester, you'll have exercises 1 through whatever we get up to, 10 or 15, something like that. We're also going to make a new folder called Data, because that is the next thing that we are going to work on. So again, as you go through here, everything needs to be very clear cut, and you put everything into the folder that you've created for the exercise. The next thing we're going to work on is downloading the data that we're going to need for this semester. The textbook that you have, the manual that you have, comes with the data along with the exercises for the manual. We are not going to do the exercises in the manual, so only download those if you plan to do the exercises in the manual. We will use some census data that I've collected over the time. So the way that we get that is you start at your website, your course website. You go to the modules section over on the left-hand side and down to materials for getting started. When you click that, at the top there is a button called, very hopefully clearly, Data. All you do is select that and really follow the directions. If you're familiar with downloading data, it's a fairly simple process. If it's not, I'm going to go through it in sort of an abbreviated way. So at the bottom I have a question of, do I want to open it or save it? And what I want to do is save as. So next to the save button there is an arrow, and if I select save as, it will let me navigate to the place that I want to save it. So as always, I'm going to navigate to my safe place, right? Here's my Intro GIS folder. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to select my data folder that I've created for this. It prompts me with a file name. I'm just going to go ahead and leave that, and then I'm going to select Save. Now once you do this, it's going to take quite a while depending upon the speed of your computer. It could take 1 minute, it could take 10 minutes. So you just are going to have to be a little bit patient. Once the download process has completed, you'll get a message at the bottom that allows you to open the folder. So you want to select that option and it will take you right to where you've saved it. So now we have the folder of the download, but we still have to get the files out. So we're going to double click on the folder that it has created, select the internal folder, and then do what's referred to as extract all files. So again, I'm in my Intro GIS data folder where all of my data has been selected. It put the zipped file in here, but you need to get into that file, highlight the folder inside, and then extract all files. Once you select this, it will give you the option of saying, do you want to move it to a different place? Usually it's already where you want. Intro GIS data, it's already where you want. So then you just go ahead and select extract. Once you select extract, it will then begin to unzip all of the files, which again in this case there are 183 items, which will also take a bit of time. So again, we will just need to be a little bit patient. Once the extraction process is complete, we can then open up our new folder and find all of the data that we need. Now, when we get into any one of these regional folders, I want you to take note that in many cases there are multiple files that have the same name. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 files that are all called airports, but they have a different extension on them. GIS creates several different files that it needs for each piece of data. So if you ever need to move something or copy a particular file, you would need to collect all, in this case, 5 of them. Sometimes there are 7 files, sometimes there's just 1 if it's been compressed. When we get further along in the software, we will learn a way within the program to do that a little more efficiently. But if you're doing it through My Computer, you need to be aware that there are multiple files for each individual piece of data. So that is what we're going to cover in this lecture.